Alright, so again for my next Masternode video, a little bit late on doing this one, it's been a while, but for my next video I'm going to go ahead and do a review on Synx. Um, if that name sounds familiar, you might have actually heard of it before, because Synx actually is not a newer, it's not like a brand new cryptocurrency. When did this come out? This chart here says last year, middle of last year. I actually thought it was a bit older than that, but that might be accurate. But yeah, so Synx was a Masternode cryptocurrency that came out, like this chart says, sometime about last year there. Originally, it was meant to be like a business content management software. Like, it was going to be used for managing different stuff, like helping to organize and manage employee records, other types of information like that. Generate a lot of hype. A lot of people are originally pretty excited about it. I think we can see that looking back through the records here of it, how it had some spikes there. But basically, I guess what happened is the original developers just completely abandoned the project, and it kind of was just not going anywhere. Then more recently, there was a community takeover where some developers went ahead and took over the project, like some volunteer developers or something like that have basically taken control of the project and been moving forward with it. And as you can see, ever since then, Synx has seen a nice little healthy pump there, one from basically being worth nothing to it's been a varying. It did see a high there, which I'll go over that shortly here, but it's been averaging around the 20-cent range, 20, 21 cents, kind of bouncing back and forth between maybe 19 to 22 at most, but that's been about where it's holding steady. So, if you check it out here, it rates pretty well. I don't know why that picture isn't loading, but it rates pretty well on, like, Masternode sites, like Masternode Pro here. It rates number 4 as far as return on investment goes. You average, like, about $4 or $5 worth of Synx a day, $120 a month there. So it's not bad, and here's the topic there. Now, as you might notice, this topic, you might have, if you'd seen it before, the original topic was different, like the design, and it's talking more about the software. They've kind of taken it in a different direction there. So my thoughts on this crypto, I will admit, originally I was a little bit on the fence about it. I'd seen it, I did a little research, it seemed interesting, but I wasn't positive, and it was actually one of my crypto investing pen pals who I keep in touch with, who they suggested that I really should think about giving it a shot. So, that, and along with what I read about it, I finally decided to go and move ahead with it there. So they've kind of changed the direction for what they're doing with Synx, and it's probably going to end up changing again here. What's kind of interesting is after they started revamping some stuff with it, like they created a new website, they made new social media pages, like their Twitter right here. They've been releasing new stuff, like showing, where they've been working from their new workspace, working on the new website. They built a new wallet and set up a new roadmap and new stuff like that. This is some of the stuff they're aiming to do there, new website, new wallet, new announcement thread, their in-house Masternode hosting service, and they released what they called a blue paper. And I thought that, and you can see that if you go to the, if you go to their page here and go to their website or whatever, you can see that under governance there in their blue paper. So I guess why they call it a blue paper is because it's not a white paper per se. Instead, what this is it's meant to be a way for them to introduce proposals to the community, and the community funds slash votes on them by submitting their money to whatever proposal they liked. And it was probably a good idea too, because one thing I did notice with Synx that had been a little bit concerning for me was it has a nice little market cap. It has nice volume there, like a pretty high healthy volume. You check the historical chart, volume for it's been pretty healthy, mostly increasing there. But the circulating supply seems a little bit on the high side. Now, I know it's not as bad as it looks because obviously some of those coins are locked up in masternodes. Like if you check here, I think they say about 2.5 million coins are locked up. So circulating supply is technically 16 million, but it's more like less than 14 really, because like I said, a good 2 million or so are locked up inside of masternodes right now, helping to run the network. So the inflation isn't as bad, but that was one thing I did notice, was that the supply seems a little bit on the high side. And I don't think, as far as I've read, that Synx actually has a real limit to the supply. Or if it does, it's really high. But that was one thing I liked about this, was they made it very clear their intentions. Like they said, basically anything that was used for funding the for funding these proposals that they made would not be staked to influence the network weight. There'd be no minimum or maximum amount, so you didn't have to send a certain amount for your vote to count. And that these funds would be used to help fund proposals, and stuff that didn't use to get fund, part of it would be burned to help fight inflation in the supply. So I like that, and they offered some interesting ideas. This stake box thing I didn't really care for. It was just they were going to offer Raspberry Pis to the community to go and stake on instead of keeping your computer on 24/7. Not something I care about, but these ideas are pretty cool. They're offering to build a decentralized exchange, like a crypto exchange client, or a decentralized peer-to-peer marketplace. This is the one I personally voted for because I think it's a great idea. Peer-to-peer marketplace that you pay with, based on your addresses. You pay in Synx. It would be based only on your address, and be all rating or reputation based. As you can see, that one, and actually ended up getting the most votes there. It never got fully funded. The reason why is because there was some change of plans there. Kind of makes me wish I had made this video sooner, but basically what they came to the conclusion was that Synx didn't exactly, the code in it wasn't as flexible for them to do the programming that they wanted to do for these kind of proposals, like the decentralized marketplaces. So basically they're going to create a fork of Synx called Grav, or GravCoin. You go further up here, you can see where they're talking about it. What they did is, I don't know, few weeks back or whatever, they took a snapshot of the network, and they're actually going to go hold an ICO beginning of next year, first quarter of 2018. They're going to hold an ICO for this Grav coin, and anyone who owns Synx coin back when they took that snapshot, however, like beginning of the month or whatever, you'll actually be able to export your Synx private key, import it into your Grav wallet, and get credited some Grav. I think it's like a 5 Synx to 1 Grav ratio or something like that. So at this point, probably the big question is, where is the project going from here? With Synx, I'm not fully sure. They gave a basic outline of what they're planning to do with Grav here, and how they're going to go and fork it, how it's going to be a 5 to 1 ratio, and what you can do to take part in it, and kind of what their plan is there. And basically what their plan is, the stuff they originally proposed here, like the decentralized exchange, or more actually the peer-to-peer decentralized marketplace, they're going to use Grav to build that instead. So they haven't made it fully clear what the plan is. As far as Synx goes, they have made it very clear that they are not ending development on Synx. They're not just leaving it. Basically, the team is going to be split. Some people are going to keep working on Synx. Some people are going to work on Grav, and they're going to work together. They have said that they are in talks with other cryptocurrencies about developing some real life practical applications for Synx, but they haven't expanded on that. So basically, I don't know if the original software is going to be built for Synx or not. That part has not been made clear yet. I like the idea when they were going to do this stuff with Synx. I don't really mind that they're forking off this grab crypto to do that. But, they haven't said specifically what practical real life uses they're going to do with Synx right now. So, right now, a lot of the value in Synx is mostly just speculative. It's. I not to say, and you can still use it as a form of payment, but aside from that, and when I say speculative, I guess what I mean is they haven't done any major things to the crypto itself. That's not to say they haven't done things. They definitely have put some work into it. Like they legitimately like fixed the wallet, for instance, because I can say the original Synx wallet, like there was a community tweaked version that worked a lot better, but the original was very buggy, very laggy, froze up a lot. They fixed that. They built the new website, the new social media. I haven't seen the blog yet there, but they went ahead and created their own in-house Masternode hosting service, which you can see over where. Oh yeah, right here. Which is, basically you pay them in Synx and they'll host a Masternode for you and do all the setup and whatnot. So, that's kind of cool there. They did update the Block Explorer. That was a big thing, and they have been putting some updates on GitHub, although I'm not sure when the last time it was updated there. Let's take a look. Yeah, actually 9 days ago. Oh, probably with the fork there. Okay. So, and this is some of the developers. Not familiar with these people. But basically, they have been doing some work on it. So, what is my thought on Synx? Overall, I remain optimistic. Synx had a pretty heavy jump there, like a pump in price, really close to that Grav fork. I think it jumped all the way to like a high of 38 cents or whatever. Then immediately after the snapshot, it went back down and around the 20-cent range. But I will say it's been holding up well, even with this recent, little nonsense with Bitcoin Cash pumping really hard and Bitcoin taking a hit. As you can see, Synx has held its price pretty well overall, and I have noticed that even in downturns, it's overall held its price. It overall has rising volume for the most part. I mean, it has had some dips, but it's had some pretty good volume there overall, a pretty healthy volume. So, I think it looks like it's a. I think it's. I remain optimistic about this one. I do feel like the dev team could be a little bit more responsive in their community outreach and communication. They don't always respond as like efficiently as they could, like in the Bitcoin talk thread here. As you can see, no one's responded to these concerns there yet. But I mean, I get it because it's a small team, honestly, and these guys are more just volunteering. They're people who just came in, decided to take over, and there hasn't been a lot of payout yet. They're doing this. They all have day jobs and they're doing this on the side, so I get it there. They have a website, a Twitter, and a Telegram. That's one thing I've noticed is they don't really seem to have an active Slack or Discord. A lot of crypto groups recently have been using Telegram for communicating to interested people, and I mean it's not a terrible thing. I kind of prefer Discord myself, but their Telegram is pretty active. There's about like 500 people on it right now, I think, and there's usually a guy in there. I think is Easy 13 or something like that. Who I don't remember if he's one of the devs. If not, he's like connected to them, but he does like a decent job of keeping us updated there. So yeah, like I was saying before, they haven't done anything crazy major. When I see crazy major, I do consider this important stuff they've done. But, they haven't done anything to give Synx practical use yet outside of its use as a currency. Of course, all these changes they have done are important stuff. It's important to get a working wallet. It's important to fix the Block Explorer so people can actually check transactions. Because we used to have issues with that not loading properly. That kind of stuff. I did like the format that they'd come up with for, their blue paper and their voting proposals there, to burn off coins and stuff like that. Now, like I said, they haven't made it clear what they're going to do with Synx in the future, but they've made it clear they have plans. We're kind of just waiting to see. So, yeah, I would say overall, based on what I've seen so far, I remain on the optimistic side with Synx. And these people have, even if I feel like they could do a little bit better job at keeping the community updated just to keep people comfortable, like, they're not as good with communication as some of the other, projects I'm invested in, like TerraCoin or Zencash or a monetary unit, but they're not terrible either. But yeah, overall, I remain optimistic about this one so far, and I'd grab some I'd stake, then I decided to go ahead and grab a Masternode, and so far I like it well enough. Their wallet, it's a pretty straightforward one, similar to like a lot of the other Masternode coins there. And biggest thing, as you can see, the payouts from the Masternode are pretty regular there. I think I'm averaging like, I don't know, 15 to 20 syncs a day right now. I was just staking for a while, because for a while there, staking a couple thousand coins was about equivalent to running a Masternode, and more convenient. You have to pay for Masternode, but I noticed my staking, it seemed to have made less money. I assume because the network weight had changed. So I decided to go switch over to a Masternode and stick with that. So that's basically the gist of it. I mean, long story short, if they continue to move forward, they supposedly have also talked about Grav and Synx projects somehow being connected. I don't know how yet, but we'll see. But basically, if they keep up the work, if they keep coming up with practical things for Synx, for the Syndicate, project here to add to it, I think it'll be effective, proof of stake Masternode cryptocurrency that, as long as they add some interesting, unique, or useful features to it, could really make it stand out and be worthwhile. So, long term, we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens. But so far, the work on it's been solid. It seems like they're working on it. Like I said, I remain optimistic. So, if you're interested, I would definitely suggest checking it out there. Returns on the Masternode aren't too bad at all. And so far it looks like we're moving in a good direction, and we'll see what the future brings a few months from now if they keep up with it. And if you have any questions, comments, thoughts, concerns, please feel free to go and let me know, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next video there.